So how was that music vlog session?
Honestly, it was amazing. I'd never done this before, and it was definitely a experience where you just went through the process and going step by step, and every minute it was like a different different experience every single time. So I'm like, you know what? I'm definitely going to take Imani's tips on how to do these videos as well. So you did a great job on that.
My brother, man, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Camera Rolling. This is the Camera Rolling video series,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about highlighting real people, real culture. Today we're featuring William Ricker, novelist, author, cosplay character developer, overall genius. Y'all see how thick these books are? Come on now. This is like a textbook, but in the most positive, loving way for science fiction. We out here vibing, but this interview is really just all about you, my brother, to just share a little bit of what you got going on in terms of how you got to this point. And so whatever level of that you want to share with us, you can keep it deep, you can go deep, or, we can kind of graze the surface, however you feel like you want to share, man. So I would like to start with, tell me a little bit about your background.
All right.
In terms of how'd you get to be who you are today? What was that upbringing that got you here?
Well, I was adopted at age 7, and that was like a different experience in my life. When I was living with my parents and they was raising me the best way that they can, it was like those moments of the learning experience of what they was teaching me was valuable that stuck with me until to this day. And I told my parents that one day, when I was starting to write at age 10, and then with my mom, she used to write poems from time to time, and that got my inspiration of writing poetry at age 13. Even I was writing poetry in my high school classes and even in college, and that got me inspiration into creative writing as a concentration for my business management degree in ACC and then USF. I wanted to go to ACC first, community college, and then for 2 years get my associates, and then attend USF to do the business management, and then also still do like my hobby with writing, with poems, short stories. But the inspiration was, of course, as millennials, watching Nickelodeon, watching Disney Channel.
All the shows.
All those shows, and even some of my favorites was Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Ooh,
Transform.
Water.
Yes.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
And they did like a live action for on Netflix. They did season 1, so season 2 is supposed to come out as a live.
Excited for that.
Yes.
Very excited for that.
Yep. And then other ones, like The Proud Family, Danny Phantom, Jimmy Neutron, those movies and shows that felt real. And even with these shows nowadays, it's like not the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, that got my inspiration even with the Marvel and DC universe. Did not see, a whole bunch of us on screen until like Black Panther and even Blade, even when it came out in the early 90s, 2000s. And of course, you can't forget about The Matrix. That was like that was one of the best.
Red pill to blue pill.
Yes. Yep. Which one? But yeah, and so that got my inspiration wrong. At first I was doing like screenplay as far as like as a script, like Act 1, Act 2, and then eventually I got into like my personal stories of when I was adopted. But then it did not, resonate me to keep going. But I wanted to use my personal story in a science fiction way by mixing with fiction, nonfiction, past, present, and future. And even with the symbolism, the African mythology that's going into it, and of course with the hovercrafts, ancient relics like the emeralds, with the staffs, the bracelets, scrolls, the history that comes part of it. Black artists, creatives, dreamers, icons, as far as like diving deep into for the younger generation to dive into that history And even with the history itself, I put a little bit into like with Alonzo Hurden and Norris Hurden. Alonzo Hurden was the first black millionaire. He was also involved in the insurance company that he created, and his son was part of the NAACP, a fraternity. I think it was also Clark University as well. And and his mansion is actually in Atlanta, which one day I'll get a chance to see it. So doing a lot of research, asking, like my work colleagues to, if they wanted to be like a part of the experience, what their characters wanted to be, with their suit colors, what their fraction of what they want to be, including what professional, even though it's based in the 1920s and 1930s, but I wanted each character to have its own story, and you can see like the different dialogue and the different experiences that people go through, and I want it to be relatable, fun, mysterious, suspenseful, and dive into not only Earth, but Africa, Mali, Kenya, and Benin, the hidden world, our canoe, the three fractions that's based in our canoe, the polishers, shifters, and revolters.
Woo!
Yes.
Said a lot.
Saying a lot.
Yes.
But even in a nutshell, the whole process, I was writer's block. That was like common thread here and there. Even with changing the titles here and there. And then I eventually, not last year, but the year before, I was just writing every day. Got all the research, asking my work colleagues, want to be a part of it, and just doing a lot of research over time until I created this masterpiece with my team, my graphic designer, who is a close friend of mine, my cosplay designer, who lives in Georgia, which we never met, but we also did a Facebook interview as well, as I wanted her to share her story of how she became a cosplay designer. She works at Six Flags in the costume department, and getting my measurements and everything. And you see this masterpiece right here.
Shout out to
Stephanie Dixon.
Shout out to Stephanie Dixon for making an awesome,
Yep.
awesome outfit. I'm loving it. It really exemplifies like the characters that you're building. You touched a little bit about the creative process.
Yes.
I'd love for you to share, like, there's a lot of creativity right here.
Yes.
Right? There's a lot of hours, there's a lot of time. What, I don't want to say give advice, but it's kind of advice, but give people a framework to think about creativity. Because a lot of people, I'm not creative. How should people think about creativity from a framework? Like what was your framework that worked for you, at least?
My creativeness came through being consistent and having time in order to utilize my craft, because you have to utilize your craft in any time, whether it's like before work, during, or after, and just trying to take the time by saying, hey, I have it under control. I'm able to do this. I have confidence within myself, because there was a lack of confidence in myself even through the process, like the writer's block, like not even have the time to do it, feeling discouraged, and even say, hey, I may not even publish this. And as I told my parents, you know what, I want to dedicate this book to you.
Wow.
And even though they passed away, was a long time ago, and it's just, I wanted it to be, a real adventurous book, and it took hours of commitment. I wouldn't say long hours at night. I would have a steady time frame when I'm before work, like I write things down, whether it's on a notepad, whether it's on the computer, and just keep that creativity flowing, and even just continuing that process along the way. So once I did that, and then, hey, I was done like in 10 months with the entire process. That's including the graphic designer with the beautiful artwork, even My editor had to revise everything, and I still had to revise even after I had to look at her work. And it costs money, time, persistence, but you got to keep going and pushing yourself forward in order to create something that you want to achieve on.
Yeah, I love that. You know, because consistency, I think that's one of the key frameworks for your creativity. Because some people think creativity is just, okay, yeah, I can do this cool thing, but doing it every day, doing it when you don't feel like doing it, doing it when you're distracted, and it's like, okay, I got to focus. So that consistency was really a framework that allowed you to fulfill not just your dream, but you're saying you're honoring your mom and your dad. That's big, right? Because you could beat yourself up. You could say, you know what? Well, I said I was going to do this for my mom and dad, and I'm letting them down. Like, you did it, you executed. So that consistency is big. And I think nowadays on social media, right?
Yes.
It's not just consistent, but we see the final product for most people, or we see a version of the final product that people want us to see.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, spending nights, grinding, writing, facing writer's block.
Right.
Like, that is a lot. So consistency, folks, consistency is key. And I'm just appreciative that you're sharing that nugget, because it sounds cliche, right? Yeah, just be consistent. But consistent, you just explain, like, getting your friends involved, getting your coworkers involved, having a team, your graphic designer, all those folks that made it happen. It wasn't just you saying, "Hey, I got a book," you know. So talk a little bit about how did you build that team? Because a lot of people are solo. I'll figure it out myself, or I'm on my creative journey, and they do it solo. How did you build that? Where did you start? What was the framework for building a team out, especially a creative team?
Yes. So, like with my graphic designer, he's a good friend of mine. I have known him for years. He actually went to school for graphic design. And he actually, I asked him one day, you know what? Hey, I'm working on this book. Are you able to? And I actually had to create like the actual towers of the book, including the actual logo of the book with the RSP, with the tree in the center, stars in the sky. I actually created it by hand and described it to him in order to say, hey, I see this in this vision as far as with the colors, because each of the colors of the RSP, not just only because of their energetic powers, but also it's also African colors as well. And so there's a lot of backstory with it. So with him, it was all set. He was excited to help me with it. And then even with the Amazon, you know, covers in order for me to actually have the right size and measurements. And that took like a process of itself, whether it's like on the lines, the solid line, it's definitely a process on that. Now with my illustrator, photographer, even my cosplay designer, and even my illustrator as well, I actually found them on Upwork. It's like a freelancing company. You can do like contracts, and it's very easy, accessible, and it's basically if you wanted to do like a fixed price or an hourly rate. So I wanted like the cheapest rate as possible, and that that took a little bit of money in order to put myself out there and letting them know the details. And surprisingly, the illustrator is actually from Africa. She lives in Kenya.
What?
Yes.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah. And so she's like 8 hours ahead of us. And so I explained her the illustrations, how I want it to be, including my work colleagues' suggestions, my friends, even my fictional character, which I'll be later in the series as well. So stay tuned on that. But even with that person, it was so much fun to work with her, and I'm able to work with her again for my sequel.
That's awesome.
With the same team that I have, my editor Sarah, she did a great job with editing, even though I had to still revise myself with the errors that she missed, and that took time. So like I kid you wrong, even like the last month of me telling everyone that my book is coming out, I literally had to read my book like a good, few weeks in order to read the entire book, check line by line, scrutinize it. Even though there was still some errors in it after I already reviewed it. And so I was able to, you know what, there's gonna be some mistakes. I'm only human, and I'm just gonna, keep, persevering and continue what I need to do.
Yeah.
So I will, utilize her services again, even July from Africa. So I wanted to give her a shout out because she did an amazing job. And my photographer who did amazing photos for when I first started social media, so I can get myself out there, let people know who I am, introduce myself. And yeah, it has been a wonderful journey.
Awesome, man. Thank you for sharing. Like, it's cool because you're a brother, and you're representing for Black folks, you're representing for other diverse groups. When you say minority, even though we're not minority, but using titles, talk about representation, man. Like, what is it like being like a Black author? What is it like just being a diverse author and being able to trailblaze in this industry?
I will say it's been like a slow process, but even last year it was like, it just skyrocketed like you wouldn't believe. And it just feels so surreal to connect with different people in different industries, whether it's barbershop, videography, painter, poet, even business owner. So it's been a crazy, fun experience for me. And these experiences I will treasure forever. And representation and diversity is important. Every day, what's going on, even now, even with the book bans at the schools, it's still, like an issue for even easy, accessible content for the kids that is appropriate. And it's still an issue to this day. And that's like one of the roadblocks of an author. But even I'm proud of myself that I accomplish it. And even traveling to like New York last year and get to go to a comic book store and see all the action figures, comics, and see the whole different world of Marvel and DC. And then even with DreamCon coming up this year, it's content creators, Black owned, and they do like a lot of fun activities and it's like a 3-day event from Friday to Sunday, and it gives you a chance to be yourself, be any character that you want to be. You don't have to dress up. It's optional. It's family as well, just like with kids can come to it. So it's like any age group can come. So there's no age limit that goes with it. But yeah, man, I love showing the diversity in my book, even as you see all the characters on my shirts. And it's just, bringing that representation so the young generation can see it, so they can be inspired to dream and to say, hey, one day I will write a book, and because they probably will see this book one day and say, you know what, I want to dream something, whether it's something creative, whether it's something that you're doing, something that I'm doing.
Said it. Yes.
And that's how it should be for generation to generation.
Exactly. We're using our platforms to inspire, to amplify, to motivate, and we can do it in a way that brings us joy. We don't have to do it for the algorithm. You're doing it in real life. I'm doing it in real life. If I inspire one person to say, hey, you know what? I want to pick up a camera.
Yes.
Right? Especially people who've never thought of being not a videographer or photographer, but a creator. Someone who's like, hey, I can create content. I don't care if it's of my family or friends, whether you're shooting on a phone, whether you're shooting on a camera. So that's why I'm doing this. I want to inspire people because we all have a story. And with social media and the media at large, a lot of our stories, whether Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, African, whatever nationality or color, a lot of our stories don't get told.
Right.
So I'm on a mission to share more stories of people like you, authors. I'm so thankful. Shout out to my father, my dad, Glenn Ely, who is also an author, novelist, and he's the one who made this introduction and made this possible. And I'm appreciative for him connecting us, because we could have easily been like, okay, how many followers does he have? But no, we said, let's take a chance on each other.
Yes.
And we've been working on some cool projects, and I'm excited to share your story, man. I really am.
Yep.
You're a brother from another mother,
Yeah.
and I appreciate like every step, you know, me following you on Instagram and me seeing, and this is not the last collaboration,
Right.
but just being able to see you grow, it warms my heart.
Yeah.
And so that's what we need. We need our parents. We need friends to build community. So shout out my dad. Thank you for introducing me to William Ricker,
Yep.
author, novelist. I mean, y'all go get the book. Where can people find your content? Where can people find your to support you at?
Yeah. So all my books, my novel, my teenage comic book, and my children's book is for all ages, and it's all available on Amazon. And I do have a Linktree profile where it has all my social media accounts, including my Amazon book links. You can see like the newspaper articles for my journey, even the behind the scenes as well. So they can check that out under my name, William Ricker or Will Ricker, and then just follow me on my journey on that.
Awesome. And with that, this is the Camera Rolling video series. Thank you for tuning in. We're all about sharing stories of real people, real culture, real places, real things happening in the real world. With that, Camera Rolling. We'll see you in the next one.
See you next one.